Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. Today we have a special episode for all of you German learners out there. Today we will be discussing Austrian German, which is quite different, I would say, than standard German, but we'll get into that a little bit later, and we're really looking forward to bringing this to you. And the main reason why is I will be traveling to Vienna tomorrow, so I need to brush up on my Austrian German so I can understand everybody, and hopefully they can also understand me as well. So I'm looking forward to it, and it should be a fun episode. Without further ado, my buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hello. Do you, when you go to different German dialects, do you need to, how quickly can you get into a different dialect? Because for me, I feel like when I'm when I'm in some German place, it usually ends up for me being that I just feel like, okay, this, like, I've been to Switzerland before, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get this. Like, I just can't. Like, it's almost a foreign language until like you're exposed to it for a bit. Then it's like, oh, I get it. It all makes sense. But I think I need exposure that you can't get through like a trip.
Right, a trip is usually too short.
Even if
which
you know
is
the
why
language, though.
Right. Well, yeah, sure. I think what happens is, at least for me, if I'm in a German-speaking country where they speak a different dialect, I won't necessarily pick up on the dialect, but I'll really pick up on a lot of the just random words they might use.
Right.
So in Austria, there are certain words they might use that they won't use in Germany. I remember when we first went to Austria for study abroad, and I kept saying the word "nee," which is, like German informal for no. Mm-hmm. I remember I really irritated one of the German teachers at the program because in Austria, they don't say "nee." What do they say, Jared?
Nah.
Exactly. And so I've noticed now I'm really careful with where I say "nee" and where I say "nah."
That's probably a good move. I mean, even if it does, it's not going to bother most people, I think. But it is a dead giveaway that you're now one of them.
That's for sure.
Before we go any further, though, everyone,
Пожалуйста.
Follow us on
nice.
Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. Follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, or you can email us at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us stuff, untranslatables, some of your on the road again stories, or you could rate and review us, only 5 stars, but you definitely can, especially if you're on Stitcher or iTunes, and tell everyone how hilarious and informative we are. And our research is backed by Harvard. They support us both financially and with information. That's why everything is so on point. And they also provide us with writers. Most of the first writers from Simpsons were from Harvard. And
is that actually true?
I think so.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
It sounds more convincing if you don't stop and question me about it.
That's fair.
Well, maybe not, but I do know like a lot of writers come from Harvard and stuff like that, and like maybe SNL. But yeah, regardless, please rate and review us.
Пожалуйста.
You like that one? I like that one.
That is a good one. It has a nice ring to it.
And I can get a lot of use out of that. Dude,
for sure.
I've really had to do a full readjustment of the soundboard just because of all the stuff I have. I now have stuff that fills up more than one board. But don't worry.
Oh, nice.
We're good.
I'm sure our listeners out there appreciate it, though. I definitely appreciate it because the drops are always great. And I even brought my entire rig with me while I've been traveling with my parents for the holidays, just so I can hear your drops.
Yeah, that's true. All you really need is a USB cable, but it's not as much fun for me or the listeners. Or
That's
you,
right.
I guess. I would hope.
That's right, for sure.
Пожалуйста.
That's awesome.
So you're in Prague right now?
Yes, sir.
I did not know that. So what are your what's going on with what's your travel Christmas situation happening here?
So here's the plan. So my parents came in on Tuesday.
They flew into Prague?
To Prague.
Okay.
And so I visited them in Prague. We're staying in this nice apartment in Prague 2 right now, which is a nice area.
Is it an Airbnb?
No, it's. I don't think so. I think it's like apartments because my mom didn't book them through Airbnb. I don't believe she did.
Okay.
But she's the one that did the heavy lifting and did the planning and the
Are
booking.
they there?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just about to go to bed
Okay.
because we got an early morning in Vienna tomorrow. But yeah, anyways, so we started in Prague. Then on Wednesday, we stayed in Dresden for a night, checked out the Christmas markets. My dad went to an art museum, and I showed them around some of the parts of the Altstadt, or the old part of town, which
That's
was
what they
great.
call it? Mm-hmm. We were talking about Prague?
Dresden.
Oh, excuse me. Oh,
Dresden.
excuse me.
Dresden on Wednesday. And then we came back to Prague yesterday. And today we did some typical sightseeing, took them to also the old part of town, Stare Miesto. My dad went to another art museum. He can't get enough of these art museums.
Is he one of those people that could spend like 3 hours in the art museum?
Dude, we went to Chicago before I left for the Czech Republic, and he went to the Chicago Institute of Arts for 3 days.
3 days?
3 days. He got like the
Jeez.
special membership, went in 3 days, spent like I think 3 or 4 hours there every day.
Dude, you didn't go with him.
I did the first day, and I could last like 2 hours, and then that was it.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I can't do that. I told you about the time in DC. My cousin and his friends, I was with them. We went to go see a concert, but we had also gone to like some of the Smithsonians. And they went to the aerospace. We went to the I say they. I was with them. We went to the aerospace museum, and I had just been there like a couple months ago. And we were in there for like an hour and a half, and then they had stopped to get lunch. And in my head, I'm like, I'm done. And these motherfuckers were just getting started. They were in there for another 3.5 hours. And what
That's
I did
crazy.
was while they went to lunch at they went to the cafeteria in the museum, and I was like, we're in one of the greatest cities in America. I'm not eating museum food. It was like McDonald's or Subway or like,
Right.
do you want a hot dog? And
Right.
I was like, no. So I literally I did a classic Jared, and this time actually sober, but I did an Irish accent. And I was just literally just slipped out. And they're like, where are you at? And I was like, oh, I'm going to go get lunch somewhere else. I'll meet you guys back there. Just let me know when you're done or whatever. And I literally walked I walked for an hour and a half to the sandwich place that I wanted to go to, called, I don't remember what it was called, Samovich. I feel like it's some pun on son of a bitch, but I can't remember what it is. Not Sam of a bitch. But anyway.
Sam of a witch, maybe? I don't know. I don't know if that's any better. That's funny.
And then it took me an hour and a half to walk back. And then I was walking to a bar. But as I was walking to a bar, they called me, and I was like, you guys are lucky. I was almost sitting down having a drink. But yeah, I was like, I can't do that. I was like, I wasn't even mad. I was like, this is cool. Like, I like being alone anyway. So I literally just, it was, I didn't bother me, but I was just more shocked. I was like, really? You guys were in that museum for like 4 hours, like 3 hours, 4 hours. It was past more than I could do. In just about any museum.
Yeah, that's way past.
I'm not sure what kind of museum. Maybe, is Cedar Point considered a museum?
I would say that's an amusement park, not a museum.
Then no.
Have you ever been to the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart?
See, now you're talking. And I haven't. And close by is also the Porsche Museum, right?
Yeah, I believe
Porsche
so.
is also based in Stuttgart, I believe.
I'm trying to think now. Now you're making me second guess. No, I'm pretty sure I was in the Mercedes-Benz Museum.
No, but
I think they do also have a Porsche museum.
I'm just guessing because I do know that Porsche, excuse me, is also based in Stuttgart, and I know Mercedes is as well. But I would love to go to either of those museums. There's even like the Peterson in California and in Los Angeles is supposed to be an amazing car museum. And I've been to car museums, but they've been like, oh, here's a Ford Model T, or like if you go to like Greenfield Village in Michigan. That's kind of a car museum. And
I
it's
would
like
say
this is
just
the
slightly.
this is the Lincoln Town Car JFK got shot in, which they have there.
They do. I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, but yeah.
Oh, I wonder how many nerds like bought flights and rented cars to go like just analyze that. Like people that are conspiracy theorists on the JFK like hyper analyze the car.
I'm sure.
And like
I'm
security's
sure.
like, James, you've been they know his name. James, you've been at this car for for 4 hours, 2 days straight. We've called the cops. They're on their way. You have time to leave, but we're gonna have to ask you to exit the premises, or else you will be arrested.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry, did you have something to say?
Nope. Go ahead.
I really need to stop myself from continuing on this line of the talk about JFK's murder car.
Probably a good call.
Are you looking forward? You are looking forward to Vienna, I assume. But
Oh, of course.
are there some spots that, because your parents have been there too, and what are some spots that they want to hit up?
I think I may
your
have
dad
mentioned
wants
this
to go
before.
to a museum.
Yeah. Yeah, my
just got
dad's
that.
my dad already.
What does your
knows
mom
where
like
all
to
the
see
art
when she
museums are.
travels?
I think for my mom, it's more just kind of looking around and doing sightseeing. You know, like she's super excited for all the Christmas markets in Vienna.
Yeah,
She'll
I
be
can
at
definitely
Christmas
imagine your mom
market.
loving a Christmas
Oh
markets.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That seems like her home.
Absolutely. Knickknacks and all that stuff.
Is your mom
So,
a
yeah.
Glühwein drinker?
She tried it. She liked it. But
Okay.
I would say I'm more of a heavier Glühwein drinker
Right.
than my mom is probably. I'm excited, though, for that punch in Vienna instead of
Oh,
Glühwein.
right.
That
Right.
punch. And I found out kind of an interesting fun fact for you. The name punch does not come from the word punch, like a fruit punch. It comes from the
I think
Hindi
we call
word.
that a false friend.
That is true. It comes from the Hindi word punch, which means 5, because the drink initially used to have 5 main ingredients, which were water or tea, lemon, I think maybe apple, and then the whatever spirit was in it. I don't remember all 5 now, but
Okay.
that's where it originally comes from. And usually in Austria and Germany, they'll usually put rum in there as the spirit.
Right. Okay.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah, I never knew that. I always just I always just figured it was some sort of, I guess I never really thought that much about it. But when you hear punch, you just think, oh, it's some sort of juice-like thing, because
Right.
punch is punch, which is some sort of juice-like thing. We're simple people, us Americans. What's it like traveling with your parents? Because one thing I realized traveling with my parents is that I walk real fast. And it's not even that they walk slow. It's that I walk fast.
That was one of the first things I was going to mention. And I've noticed, though, even when I'm with you, you do walk pretty fast. The times
Yeah.
I've traveled with you, I'm always like struggling to keep up with you. But yeah, so I would say definitely the speed of walking. I got to be careful, especially because my parents don't have cell phones here. So if we get
can't
separated
lose
or
them.
lost, right, exactly.
I just imagine you screaming like a little boy in Kroger. Mom! I'm
Well,
right
see,
here, Chad.
here's the thing. At least when we're in Austria, my dad speaks fluent German, so I'm not as worried.
Right. So, yeah.
And
You
I
can get a
think
cab,
also,
go back to the hotel, get around.
Right. And I think my mom also has been abroad enough where she could definitely
Yeah,
do
she's
it
not
if
useless. She's a perfectly capable young older woman.
Absolutely, for sure. But it's been really great having him here. I've had a lot of fun with them. It's fun being a tour guide, but I also have to really be mindful of, like today we were going to go to this place for lunch, and then I realized I looked up the wrong place because there were 3 of them. It was like, believe it or not, we went to a Mexican restaurant while we were in Prague.
Okay. Have you mentioned this place before?
I may have. I don't know, but it's really good food. Absolutely delicious, and the price is also pretty fair. Prague sometimes can get a little pricey in terms of food, especially if you're in the very touristy areas.
Right.
But yeah, it's been really great. The only other thing is, it can be difficult traveling with all the luggage when you don't have your own car. So we're going by train or by bus.
Oh yeah,
and so,
yeah. How much
so
luggage
that
do
can
you
be
have?
a little tricky. I have like one big suitcase and a backpack, and of course, I brought my travel guitar with me.
That's hilarious though, because like you don't pack light at all. Like seems like there's no consideration for packing light for you. I mean, you're already bringing your guitar wherever you go, so packing light's already out of the question.
That's fair. Although it's a small traveler guitar, in my defense. It's not a full-size guitar.
Really sticking up for that guitar.
I am.
Hey, stop picking on my guitar.
That's right. He has feelings, man. That's right. That's right. I tried to. Well, see, I should have known. I made the one mistake where I tried to be very mindful with what I was packing. But of course, when we were in Dresden, we went. It was like 30 degrees out, so it was pretty cold. So we went there was this big mall right next to the main Christmas market there, and of course, I walked in. I wandered into H&M, and they had some killer deals on a couple flannels.
H&M always has killer deals.
I know, right, dude? I got a sick flannel for €6.
That's pretty dope. That's a killer deal.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. So I should have known I was going to buy some stuff and brought less. So I didn't account for that. So you're absolutely right.
No, that's not what I was getting at, though. I think even more than that is I mean, that's just extra on top. But your parents are there for weeks, and I assume they also have like just all of their stuff with them, like all of their suitcases with them.
Yep.
And because they're here for so long, it's just natural that they have a lot of stuff. Dude, I saw a video today on Twitter or Instagram, whatever. Probably both. I probably follow the account both on Twitter and Instagram. And it was a dude that actually looked like he was a pilot, but maybe he wasn't. It might have just been a man in a business suit. But he was, those kiosks where you can check in at airports? He was shaking it to the point where it broke it from its sort of base and knocking it over. And then he took a suitcase and banged a suitcase on it. And then he stepped over to the one next to him, started shaking it and pushed it over and banged a suitcase on it. God. And on Twitter, I commented, I was like, this is no one's ever made a better case for one of those hard case suitcases than this. Right. Because he actually had one of those soft, like just a normal rolly one. I was like, man, this is one of the few times I'm highly recommend. Like, I really wished someone had one of those big hard case
sure.
4-wheel suitcases. Really get some more weight on this thing.
That's crazy. That's hilarious.
But I totally understand those frustrations because those things are terrible. And I've also used so many that are like, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say so many, that are like calibrated wrong. So like you kind of have to not click completely on point. Like if you click completely on the A, you'll actually hit the V or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And luckily, I have not used one of those in a long time because I think we're almost past them. Those were just a step in between checking in online or through your phone or computer, which I mostly do now.
100%.
And then you just avoid those, unless you have to check baggage, I guess, just avoid those altogether.
Right. And what's interesting...
There's a pro tip. There's Jared's pro tip.
Oh, for sure. That's a great pro tip. What's interesting about that too, Jared, is I have a couple different travel apps on my phone right now. One of them it's called Můj vlak, which is Czech for my train. And it's the app through České dráhy or the Czech railway system. And I can buy all my tickets there. I get updates. Dude, I even get a text alert 3 minutes before my stop. Like, you need to get off at,
Oh, really?
17. Yeah, dude, it's awesome.
Dude, I like that. That gives me more confidence to sleep on a train.
Exactly. And what was funny is, for me, I really wanted to make sure that we had all the tickets and everything set for my parents when we were traveling. And I think in the past, it was way more common to go to the train station, buy the tickets, and there would be a price difference because if you bought the tickets online, you were usually buying them through some third party and you'd have to pay a fee or whatever, right? But nowadays with, Deutsche Bahn, ÖBB, which is the Austrian train system. Also, České dráhy.
Isn't that like isn't that like a hip hop song from the early 2000s?
Isn't it?
ÖBB.
I think so. Something like that. I think you're right.
Song.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. But anyways, with these apps, it makes it so you don't even really need to go into the train office. And I felt kind of like an idiot because we went into the train office to get the tickets for Vienna. And we got back and my mom was like, all right, what train number is this? And I've gotten so used to my app now, which says it in a certain spot. It took me forever on the ticket. And then I gave it to my dad and he found it immediately. But
yeah, because they're old.
Right, exactly.
They know how to read tickets. You're like, this would be so much easier if it was on my phone.
Exactly. But
speaking of speaking of third parties, convenience, blah 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 blah. It's official that I'm not going home for Christmas. I mean, now this episode comes out after Christmas, so I'll say this: it was a sad, but also enjoyable and slightly overly intoxicated Christmas. That's just a prediction. However, the people that are hearing this, Christmas has already happened, and I'm just assuming that's what's going to happen.
That's fair.
My parents
I hope you enjoy it, buddy.
My parents did ship me, and my sister too, apparently, presents, and so that's nice. And I did figure out what to get my mom. I feel like I wonder if I should say it here. Well, I'm going to say it here. So I'm gonna get her CBD oil because she always has these aches and pains in her knee and feet and stuff, and I was telling her about it, and I gave her the standard spiel of it doesn't get you high, it's not weed.
Right.
And she's like, oh, I read about it, and I'm gonna do that.
Nice. That's solid. I would share mine, but my parents are in the other room right now, so.
And we all know that they have their ear up to the door.
That's right.
Okay. Well. I'm excited to hear about. I'm excited for this on the road again.
Oh, me too, buddy. And guess who I'm going to go visit while I'm in Vienna?
Thomas.
Yes, sir. You're damn right
yes.
I am.
Yes.
So just some insight for all of our listeners out there. Thomas was my roommate in Vienna when I lived there for the year. And I would say we became really close friends. He's an awesome guy. So looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun to see him again, reconnect with him, and hopefully attempt to speak some more Austrian German.
Can we? Is it possible to get him on the pod?
I can ask him. He might. We'll see. I'll have to ask him and see. No promises, but that would be pretty epic.
Okay.
We'll see.
Is he? Well, just for my own personal preparation, if he does join us, is he still in Freiburg?
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, he's in Freiburg, but he's visiting. He's visiting his family for Christmas this year in Vienna.
I saw on Facebook, I believe it was, that he has a mustache.
He did for Movember, yeah.
Oh, okay, so he doesn't have that anymore.
No.
Because
I kind of wish he did because I was curious to see how it looked.
I'm not going to say that it was creepy, but it was definitely a look.
I mean, I feel like it's really hard to not look creepy with mustaches, which is funny because if you look at pictures of guys from the 60s or 70s, they look good with mustaches.
Well, that's the thing. I think the only way mustaches look creepy is if you're seeing them on a person that either just generally looks like a creepy person or someone that you know usually to not have a mustache. So if you were to be introduced to someone and they have a mustache, there's a higher chance that it wouldn't be weird because that's just who you assume the person is. They could still be weird, though. Granted, there's still a higher chance that with the mustache they'll look weird.
You're not wrong.
But I think there's also a higher chance that it could look normal as well because you're like, I don't know what this person normally looks like, so I'm going to assume this is just the normal. And it could look normal if it happens to be the right person. I don't know.
I don't even know that many people our age, though, that even have just a mustache.
Wally used to do that, remember?
He looked good with one. He could pull it off, but I feel like not a lot of people can pull it off. I've done it once when
I've considered it. Whenever I shave, I always
rock it.
Whenever I shave, I always leave the mustache, and I'm like, I can't do this.
I feel like you probably wouldn't look creepy though.
I mean, I'm not the one to say, and I don't want to find out at work.
Right. I want you to send me a picture next time
Jared's
you.
been looking at me weird, and it's like nothing's changed except for the mustache.
That's the power of facial hair right there. I mean, I look like I'm like 14 if I don't have a beard. A lot of people don't believe me.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think that's true.
Okay, maybe 16, but one way or another, I don't look like I could legally drink a beer. That's for sure. Or at least, well, I could legally drink it in Austria, I guess, would be good.
That's true. I mean, you don't look that young. Speaking of, I would say speaking of Austria, do you have any shout-outs for us?
I do. I have 2 shout-outs.
Spread a little love.
That's right.
I don't know what just
You
happened.
better believe it. I liked it. I think that needs to be like a reoccurring thing when we do the shout-outs. That was perfect. Get on your keyboard, do a couple like cool like chords on there. Like who's the what's his name? The character from The Office, and he plays keyboards. Craig Robinson, is that right?
Oh yeah. Yes, Craig Robinson.
Right? Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So my first shout out, though, to spread a little love, as you so eloquently said, is for Scotland. Because Scotland has now apparently more than 70% of Scottish electricity is renewable, which is up 54.4% from Scotland's demand in 2016.
Wow, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, countries like there are countries like Brazil or I believe. Excuse me, I'm drinking a beer and it's having a reaction within me, causing a belch-like sensation. I believe countries like Brazil and some of the Scandinavian countries are like boast like 100% renewability or more than 100% renewability. Like everyone always talks about in Sweden, they sell they buy trash. That's cool. I love to see that progression. I wonder, and not to get negative within the shout-outs, but I wonder where Michigan, where the United States falls within that list of renewability.
Me too. And I don't have any answers or numbers for you, but I'm also curious.
It's not about them. It's about Scotland.
That's true. So big ups to you, Scotland.
I have a little point. I can't do it. I don't know how to do a Scottish accent.
Yeah, it's tough. I just have to think of Groundskeeper Willie from The Simpsons. But I still can't replicate the accent either, really. Anyways, my last shout out, and you might not like me for this, Jared, because I've given this guy a shout out before. And I know how you feel about these guys. But my next shout out goes to not Dinesh D'Souza, but Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk
fully dislikes him.
Okay, well, Elon Musk has provided $423K to buy laptops for all Flint middle schoolers.
Okay, see, I respect that.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe for laptops, you said?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice.
Laptops, which I think is good because in today's society, I think younger kids, if they don't have access to some of these technological tools, they're going to be really far behind when they get to college, if they get to college. And if not, they might be really far behind when they start working. So big shout out to you, Mr. Elon Musk, for providing all these students in Flint laptops. Yeah, Jared?
I think that's great. And it's not that I dislike Elon Musk. It's just that I think he does some shoddy business work. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and this dude was talking about how his dad got one of the new Tesla Model 3s, and he got the performance one, which comes with 20-inch rims. And his dad's had 3 of the 20-inch rims and one 19-inch rim from the standard model. Somehow, it just came with one smaller rim.
That's not good.
So it's just that kind of shoddy build quality and quality control stuff and just business stuff annoys me. But it's not that I straight up dislike the guy.
Right. I mean, we talk about him like we're friends or something, but we believe it or not, we've never hung out with him before.
Fine, I'll hang out with you guys. I'll stop shitting on him and join you guys for a meal.
Right, that'd be solid. Well, speaking of tasty things, I have a tasty brew with me this evening because I'm still in the Czech Republic, I had to get one of my favorite breweries, Krušovice, and this is the 12. So I believe this one is 5%.
Which is
alcohol
more
by
than the
volume.
10.
Yes, more than the 10. And I also will do the traditional, get that tap going. And this one, I think the higher numbered beers tend to taste a little better. I don't know if it's just I'm in my head or what, but whenever I have a chance to get a 10, an 11, or a 12, I will almost always choose an 11 or a 12.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
so you were saying that the Krušovice Krušovice that you had as the song of the pod, beer of the pod on a previous episode, that was one of your favorite beers.
Yes.
And you argue that it was better than the Pilsner Urquell.
Yes.
So now what you're telling me right here on this podcast is that what we're witnessing is something that is too better than the other one. So that means even better than the Pilsner Urquell and better than the Krušovice 10. Is that what you're telling me right here on episode 50-something 3?
53. I got some even worse news for you, Jared. I would actually say I would put maybe 3 beers above Pilsner Urquell.
I mean, I'd put a bunch of beers above Pilsner Urquell. I don't care if it's straight up from the tap in Czech or from John Pilsner Urquell's testicles himself. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Well, so yeah, but anyways, Krušovice is definitely one of my favorites.
Are you on your phone, by the way?
I'm not. My phone's over charging right now, so I'm gonna have to get these selfies later. But as you can see, Jared, it's got a nice
Speaking
color
of
to
which, you have to post a beer of the pod pick for this episode.
Oh, good call. Good call. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the heads up.
Terrible timing, but I just remembered.
Right. But yeah, so good color to it. Yeah, good color, nice amber color. I would once again say this is like a lager style beer. Pretty smooth. I think this one, I think you can taste the alcohol a little bit more in the 12s than you can the 10s. Mm-hmm. But it's only a slight difference. But
what was the 10?
I really
4.8 or something like that?
I think so, yeah. So it's a very minimal percent, but I mean, for me, I can tell it's a little bit stronger.
Right.
And yeah, it's just, this is also a beer that I could either just drink by myself, not by myself, I sound like an alcoholic, drink by itself.
I mean, you're drinking one by yourself right now. I guess you're with me.
That is true. Well, that's true. You're also drinking a beer.
Is that why we do this podcast, just to justify?
That's right.
I'm also, by the way, drinking a Dale's, which is one of my. I don't
your
mean
go-to,
right?
right?
I don't mean to.
Oh, you're good.
To hijack your beer of the pod review, but yeah, it's just one of my go-tos, which I do enjoy very much.
I will say, to be honest, Krušovice is definitely my go-to. I actually had one on tap earlier today, and it was really, really delicious.
What are you? Ooh, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
What are your parents? Is this your parents' first time in the Czech Republic?
Yes, sir.
What are the what are their opinions? Have they given you any?
I think they really like it.
Do they have they been to any them two specifically been to any European countries that they are happy to not go back to? That they're like, I'm not a huge fan of this one.
Well, I think the only place maybe would be Amsterdam, just because it's kind of expensive.
Right.
And it can also, it's pretty busy. Other than that, I don't
Amsterdam
think
is beautiful,
so.
though. People
It's
are so
absolutely
friendly.
beautiful.
And your dad doesn't like that Van Gogh museum?
Oh no, I think it. Maybe that's a bad example. I think they probably would. Let me put it this way.
City. I was like, oh, come on.
let me put it this way. I think if it was a little bit cheaper, and if things weren't always quite as chaotic, at least in the downtown area.
Yeah, it is a very busy city.
Like, you got to watch out so you don't get run over by a bike or a moped when you're in Amsterdam.
Right, yeah. It is very fast-paced. I think surprisingly fast-paced, because it's not fast-paced in the sense that it's a fast-paced culture, But it's more fast-paced in the sense that a lot of people ride bikes and they're very tall.
For sure. For sure. And they will run your ass over if you're not paying attention.
It's not like a hustle bustle of New York. It's like everyone's going to their high-paced, high-powerful jobs. But it's just like, no, it's just people tend to move faster, and like you have to be kind of aware because it's not separated like cars. But there are still people like moving faster than you, and people are big, so they walk faster.
Also, I cannot even imagine driving a car in Amsterdam or in Prague. Maybe Vienna, maybe.
I can't even remember. I don't even know. I can't even remember like what because I think maybe I've taken a couple like taxis, if that. I don't even think I've done that. So I don't even know what it's like to ride in a car in Amsterdam.
Right. It's pretty crazy. That's for sure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but anyways, back to the Krušovice though. I have to tell you, man, I don't think you can beat it when it's on tap. It's one, at least in terms of Czech beers. Krušovice on tap, in my opinion, number one.
Do you think you'll miss it when you come back?
Oh, for sure. Might need to do some crazy scheme like Always Sunny and open up a bar and sell Krušovice on tap. Who knows?
You and I should open up a bar. We could do the podcast out of there.
That'd be sweet.
Untranslatable bar.
Ooh. Has a good ring to it. Oh, that'd be great. Have like some weird names for drinks and stuff, and people have no idea what's in it.
Mama Hoo.
That'd be pretty
solid. That could be a drink.
That's true.
Or the Viborni. Or the
I want the I want the Pajalsta. That's what I want.
Oh yeah.
Пожалуйста.
That'll be something vodka based.
Oh, it has to be.
It'll be too strong. It'll be way too strong, and it'll make you please say.
Пожалуйста.
But yeah, that would be awesome. Maybe that'll be our goal for 2020. That'll be our 2-year plan is to open a bar and have a top of the line studio that we also do the podcast out of that bar, and we'll do live shows for everyone. What city would be the best city to do it in? Because we'd obviously have to meet somewhere and make that decision.
Right.
Man,
well, I mean, you're already in Philly, so
yeah,
I'd say probably Philly. I don't know. Although, really, my opinion, you got to go to Detroit, my man. That's where all the startups are happening.
It seems like you want it to be in America, though. I was thinking international.
Ooh, all right. I like where your head's at. All right. Ooh,
I don't mind. I mean, America. I'm not saying America's off the. I actually like the idea of Detroit. I like that idea.
Detroit's solid.
So even though we're talking international, I'd still choose Detroit. I gotta
be real with you, man. I've talked to some Czech people, and I feel like a lot of people, not only Czechs but people all over the world, even a lot of Americans, they shit on Detroit and they don't even know about the greatness of it. You know, obviously there's bad parts of Detroit, but there's bad parts in almost every big city.
I do get a little defensive when I hear people shit on Detroit. It's like, well, it's also people that have never been there. Granted, I shit on so many places I've never been to, people I've never talked to before in my life. So I don't mean I'm not holier than thou, but yeah, no, I get a little overly defensive when people say things like that about Detroit. I was like, you don't even know, you don't understand the greatness within. Just don't go to certain areas and you're fine.
Right, exactly. And downtown Detroit's beautiful. That's for sure. Well, yes. Jared, do you happen to know what time it is by chance?
Oh yeah, I think I do.
Oh, perfect. Speaking of which, I was walking around Prague today. Walked by the Rolex shop. Thought about popping in there and getting an untranslatable Rolex while I'm abroad, but it was a little above my budget, just a little.
That's hilarious. Did you actually go into the Rolex shop?
No, but I saw the Rolex up there. Made me think of you.
I just imagine you wearing a Rolex. That would be the funniest thing.
Yeah, dude. I mean the only technical jewelry I even wear is like an earring that half the time I would forget I even had it if somebody didn't say, "Oh, when did you get your ear pierced?"
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I've never been a watch guy. I think it's because I don't like things on my wrist, especially like if I'm like playing music. But anyways, we're not here to talk about our jewelry standards. We're here to give some untranslatables. So how about you get us started, Jared?
Okay, well, mine are all Austrian untranslatables because this is about the Austrian dialect. And my first one is just a fun one to say. And so I'm gonna say how you would say it in German.
Okay.
And I'd like you to give the Austrian version.
I'll do my best.
Zeig mal.
Zeig mal.
Wait, excuse me. Guck mal. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. I'm
Guck
sorry.
mal. Schau
Yeah.
mal.
Yeah, schau mal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Which
And
just
in
means
go ahead.
well, it means to look, right? Like you're telling someone,
Yeah,
hey,
like, look over
at
there.
that.
Like look there, yeah.
Which is kind of a false friend to me, because when you first hear schau mal, at least for a German, like it kind of sounds like show me.
Wait a second. Well, I agree with you, but schau mal and schau mal have different meanings.
Okay, well mine was schau mal.
Schau mal is let's see. We'll see.
Okay.
And schau mal is look.
We'll see. This is where we learn. This is
That's right.
okay.
That's right. And Austrian German's tricky. There are like very small subtleties that will change the meaning of something. And some places in Austria
means let's see,
or we'll see. We will see. Like
We'll
if you're not
see.
sure, you might be like, yeah, schau mal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I fucked that up the entire time I was there.
and the other thing is, in some places of Austria, they'll say schau mal. So schau mal.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I can imagine that. That's what's the name of our song of the pod does something similar to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Do you have one? Well, are yours Czech or Austrian stuff?
I got Austrian ones today as well.
Okay.
So this one, Jared, you could. Well, I won't give you the example because I think it'll be too easy. But the word is Goosh. Goosh.
Goosh. Could you tell me what it would be in? Because I don't know. Could you tell me what it would be in German?
Yeah, it will give it. It'll give it away, but you can still translate it. I mean, it's literally like sei ruhig or Ruhe jetzt.
Oh, be quiet.
Yeah, be quiet. Gush.
Okay.
I guess it's kind of like we go shh, right? I guess they go
Right.
gush.
Yeah.
Gush.
Yeah. It's a similar sort. It's a similar sound. Gush. I'll argue that that's better.
Yeah. I think it's
Sh is always piercing, you know?
Yep, very impolite too.
Yeah, gush is more like gush. You could say it's softer, but sh is whenever someone I mean, maybe it's the same with gush, just because I haven't heard gush be used. But when someone shushes, even if it's not to me, I'm like, wow, you're a dick.
Another
as a child.
Right, for sure. Another one that I like that's kind of similar is heute pappen.
Heute pappen.
Heute pappen.
Okay.
Which is like halt die Klappe or shut up.
Right.
Or you can also say heute goschen. All three of those.
I've heard that one before.
Heute
I've heard
pappen,
that
heute
one before.
goschen.
I have heard that before. Okay. And in Germany, you'd say halt die Klappe. Or halt's Maul. You could also say halt's Maul.
Maul. Those are not polite phrases though, so I wouldn't be just dropping those in the U-Bahn.
Halt's Maul. I forgot about halt's Maul. Oh my god.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Or
literally
halt die
hold
Mund,
your
you can also say, I believe.
I've never heard that one before, but I'm sure you could. I'm sure you
halt's
could.
Maul was one I totally forgot about.
Right.
Oh, by the way, this is totally unrelated, but I meant to bring this up earlier. So today, someone invited me to a Christmas party, and I said, can I get back to you later on whether or not I can go or not? And really, I can. It was just like whether or not I will go, and there's something about going to like a stranger's Christmas party, and it's like people my age. But there's something about going to like a stranger's, not birthday party. Did I say birthday party? It's not a birthday party. It's a Christmas party.
Christmas party.
But there's something about going to like a stranger's party where it's like never mind. I shouldn't have even brought it up. My next
That's
word
when you
is
gotta say schau mal.
my which means no. My next, well, it depends on how many Dales I drink. No, I'm kidding. My next phrase or untranslatable is Jetzt haben wir den Salat. Are you familiar with that one?
Never heard that before. Ooh. Now we have the
Chad.
salad. Now we have the lettuce.
Yeah. Now we have the lettuce.
Is that like now we've got the goods? Now we've got the money?
I believe it means when someone messes up. See, now I didn't put. There was more of an elaboration, but I was assuming you know. I was literally just assuming you know it.
I've never heard that one before.
Like, oh,
A
now
lot of
we
learning going on today.
now we have the salad. Nice. Now we have the salad.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, I like that one. That's a good
there
one.
you go. Mm-hmm.
All right, I got one for you. Also Austrian German.
I always do like the idea of getting free booze, though. That is one thing that I do enjoy about going to a party. But I don't
That's
like
true.
standing in the corner or just talking to the same person and striking up conversation with strangers. What's your next phrase?
My next phrase is Der Gescheitere gibt noch, der dumme Esel folgt in den Bach, which in standard German is der Gescheiterte or der Klügere gibt nach, der Dumme oder der Esel fällt in den Bach.
Isn't Azel donkey? But you said it's
Yeah.
dumb.
The stupid person or the donkey.
Oh, that's what they call dumb people. Is a donkey.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe.
That was a.
Could be.
Can you give me the phrase? Just tell me what it is. Sorry, just translate it. We don't have to go through that again.
Okay. Well, the phrase is der Gescheiterte gibt noch, der Dumme or der Esel folgt in den Bach. Folgt in Bach, sorry.
Okay.
And
What's Bach?
Bach, which is stream.
Oh, okay.
Stream, a Bach. And so it basically means that, the usually smart people eventually will
What's the little
realize-
English translation though? Did you ever say that?
Sorry. The smart one will like not quit, but like give in or like realize it's not worth like continuing.
Oh my God.
And the dumb person will fall in the stream. Any ideas what that means?
I mean, that was just as confusing as you explaining the German part of it to me. So just
Well, okay, so nachgeben is like to relent, to retreat, to concede. I would say to concede. So the smart ones concede, the dumb ones will fall in the river. Or the smart ones retreat, the dumb ones will fall in the river.
Know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You got to know when to call it quits.
I like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's speaking of know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Our one of our patron saints of the Untranslatable podcast. Isn't that a Willie Nelson song?
Kenny Rogers.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right,
Kenny
Never mind.
Rogers. But hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
I'm
that.
such an idiot.
Hey, at least you're not falling in any streams, Jared. Could be worse.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Did you know that phrase, by the way, or did you look that up?
I've known that one. I've heard that one before.
That sounds so complicated. I've never heard it before. That's not complicated, but I've never heard it before. Now that I hear the translation, it makes more sense to me. Jetzt kannst die Suppe aber selbst auslöffeln.
Now you can, like, spoon your soup yourself? Is that what that means?
Yeah, go on and finish the soup yourself. Yeah, now.
So is that kind of like if you don't change your attitude, you're going to have to do it by yourself? I've never heard that one.
Kind of. Mama hoo hoo. It's not in the mood to help someone clean up their own mess. So you're on the right track. I think you're close. But,
Okay.
But it's just like finish your own soup. I'm not gonna help you finish your meal.
I see.
your
That
own
makes
meal.
sense. That makes sense. All right. I got one more for you, Jared. And it
It's your
is-
bed. You sleep in it, or it's what is that? What's
You,
isn't
ma-
that the
you made
English
your
one?
bed, sleep in it?
Oh yeah, you make your bed, sleep in it. That's the English
Right.
untranslatable.
There we go. Nice. So this one is, so in standard German, it's der Technik ist ein Hund. And in Austrian German, die Technik ist ein Hund.
What's Technik?
Like the technical, like the Technik You know,
I didn't mean to catch you off guard there, Chad. I thought that was a pretty simple question. You almost short-circuited like your technique was broken.
Technique is like the techniques or the technology.
You say okay. It's just so funny how you keep saying techniques like that's a word anyone says in English. Technology. So the technology is a dog?
Uh-huh.
Is that just saying the technology sucks?
No, I would say what the idiom they have in German is der Teufel steckt im Detail. So the devil's in the details.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole bunch of untranslatables just thrown into one there. That was an untranslatable smorgasbord. Nicht das Gelbe vom Ei. Nicht
And you want me to translate that
das
into
Gelbe
Austrian?
vom Ei. Sure.
Nettes Gelbe, nettes... maybe it would be nettes Gelbe vom Ei.
Oh, they say Goiba?
Well, so in Austria...
See, now I feel like you're getting too fancy, and they're going to be like, you're going to be in Austria, they'll be like, all right, relax, bro.
Probably. That's usually what happens. But no, usually in Austrian German, like alt goes to oit. That's why they say oida instead of altar.
Ah.
Geld is goit.
Okay.
So gelb would be maybe goib.
The yellow of the egg is what that is.
Right.
For all of our non-German speakers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. And see, I've heard this idiom a ton of times in German.
Not the yellow of the egg. Is that what I said? I think I said the yellow of the egg.
That's not the yellow of the egg. And isn't it like it's not what you're good at? Or it's
kind
not
of.
the best?
I mean, what the definition that they gave was unconvincing performance or a poorly conceived idea, half-baked proposal.
Okay.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of like half-assing something, I would say, and not coming with the full, like you're fully prepared for something, I think is what it is.
That makes sense.
So it's like you got the egg whites, but you didn't get you don't have the good part. Like you haven't actually done the meat of the work.
Or you don't got that yolk.
Yeah. Which is hilarious, by the way, is that there was like a good decade or so where everyone was like, egg whites. And it turns out it's like, no, you actually probably, if anything, you'd be better off only eating the yellow part of the eggs if you actually had to choose. That's where all the nutrients and good stuff is.
Oh, for sure. Right, exactly.
Just eat the whole egg, by the way. Just do that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So yeah, that's all I got.
Nice. Those are mine as well. Well, here, let me give you one more, Jared. Because this phrase is just awesome. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Nanette.
Nanette.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to skip translating it to German and just say it almost sounds like I don't know nothing.
No. Nanette means more like natürlich or even sometimes yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What does it mean in German? How would you translate it to?
I don't think you can translate that one. I don't think there's any direct translation with that one.
It's just natürlich would be what it would be? Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before. I feel like I for some reason I feel like when I was in Vienna, I got away without learning a lot of those phrases. And maybe just the very nature of being in the biggest city, it's easier to get away with more classic Hochdeutsch German, which is your more traditional German that you'd be taught in schools.
Right.
I feel like it's easier to get away with that in the bigger the city. So in Vienna, it was a little easier to get away with not knowing all of those little intricacies, even though I knew some of them, obviously, like na and all that stuff.
Right. Well, I think some of it too. Did you have an Austrian roommate?
No, they were all American. One was half Spanish. So
I think that makes a difference. You know, I had Thomas, my Austrian roommate,
right,
which is really interesting.
And
because
they were all higher levels. Just all your roommates were better German speakers than all of my roommates, except for Nolan.
Right. And we actually made a pact in my apartment to only speak German when we were at home. And I would say we stuck to that most of the time.
Passed around a knife, cut your fingers, and shook hands.
That's right. German speaking blood brothers. That's right, Jared. You're right.
Пожалуйста.
Only German.
But yeah, makes a difference. And then, the second semester, I try to meet more Austrians as well. Especially because I was feeling a lot more confident in my German. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was back at Albion for my senior year, I was fortunate enough to be offered like a German TA-ship, right? To help out and teach some German tutorials to some of the students. And my advisor told me you might want to tone down the Viennese accent a little bit.
Ooh.
And I hadn't even realized
say, hey,
it
Perry,
at first.
Easy there. Slipping on gator piss. I don't want to fight you.
Right.
Do you agree with them, though?
I mean, yeah. Students don't need to learn Wienerisch.
Yeah, it's just
I like it. I think it's cool.
Overcomplicating things.
But yeah, exactly. But even some of my German friends can tell me once in a while they hear it a little bit.
Is that just now because you were there for a year? Do you think you have the most exposure to that kind of German? Let me put it this way: is that more of a conscious or unconscious effort? Like, is that just your preferred dialect, or is it more unconscious than that? Where it's just like maybe it's just because you live there and were the most exposed directly to that.
I think it was some of that, but I think the other aspect of it is some of the words for me they sound a little nicer with Austrian German. And they're easier to pronounce. For example,
so you enjoy it a little more. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
okay.
And I would say some words in Austrian German are easier to pronounce. Like Chemie is standard German for chemistry.
That's
Chemie.
a very difficult word to say.
Right, and in Austrian German they say Chemie.
Yeah, that's very easy.
or you have China or Akina for China.
I did not know that.
Technik. There's a difference in the CH sound.
Do you want to do some more? Speaking of, since you're doing this, I have a list of, some, would you call it false friends between, false friends are later. First, we'll do just some terms, some standard terms.
Absolutely.
I'll give you the Hochdeutsch, which is the standard German. You'll give me the Austrian German. Then we'll get to the false friends.
I'll try my best. We'll see.
They're easy.
Okay.
Brötchen, which is bread.
Oh, this
just
is an important one. And I have a funny story about this.
Okay.
Well, before I tell the story, let me explain the word.
As I said, now I'm hyper conscious after that episode with David. Now that apparently I'm always trapping people. I didn't realize I was always trapping people. No, anyway, sorry. Tell me your funny bread story.
Well, I will after I give them the Austrian word. So Brötchen is the German word for roll, literally little bread. Brot is bread, and chen on the end of words would be little. So Brötchen, little bread or roll, and they are delicious in Germany and Austria. They're also really good here in the Czech Republic as well.
Pretty simple, too. It's the cheapest thing you can get at the... And they don't last for any longer than that day also, really.
Oh, for sure.
The most you can get is 2 days out of them.
Maybe 2 days, yeah. And after that, it gets a little too stale and hard. But anyways, so Brötchen is roll, and Semmel is the Austrian German. They also say... Also, just so our listeners know, a lot of these words that we'll be talking about today, you can also use them in Bavaria, southern Germany that borders Austria. Mm-hmm.
That's true. Apparently, Austrian German is it's its own. It's one of the. Let me just put it this way: Austrian German is the only pluricentric language officially recognized by the EU, and a pluricentric language is one with several standards, official variations, such as English. So it's like a officially recognized dialect of German, and because Austria is so close to Bavaria, a lot of Bavaria actually. I believe the proper way to say this, and correct me if I'm wrong if you know, but I believe the proper way to say it is that a lot of Bavarians also speak the Austrian German dialect. Is that the proper way? I feel like I'm. I almost feel like I'm
Slipping on gator piss.
a little bit when I say that. Like I was a little nervous to say that, but I believe that is the proper way to say it.
I would say that's pretty accurate. I mean, really, what you can say is Austrian, German, and Bavarian come from the same dialect family.
Okay.
There are some small variances, but yeah, I would say overall, like Austrians can understand Bavarians and vice versa. It's no problem. And what's really funny, speaking of Bavaria, is there's a saying in Austria. They say, I'm trying to remember the saying now. It's like, Bayern ist das Beste Deutschlands. So like Bavaria is the best of Germany. Mm-hmm. Und Österreich ist das Beste Bayern. And Austria is the best Bavaria.
I actually read a lot about how, how Austrians have like a bunch of kind of quote unquote pejorative sayings for Germans, but Germans don't really have that for Austrians.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh, they do? Can you think of any?
They do. I mean, just what they call each other. Austrians will call Germans Piefke, and Germans will call Austrians Özis.
Özis, yeah, but but Piefke comes. Do you know where Piefke comes from? Piefke apparently comes from Prussian and or Kraut.
Okay, all right.
So I feel like there's way more insult within Piefke than there is within just a joke on the way on the people's on Austria,
right?
Or Österreich, I guess, which is Austria for Germans. But okay, so let me give you some more. Did you tell us the story about the Semmel? Did you ever get to that?
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't. So the story is, I was in one of the grocery stores, and I believe the woman working in the bakery part of the grocery store, I think she must have been, she wasn't Austrian. So I think she had moved to Austria and learned German in Austria, not in Germany. Because I went there with my dad, and he asked for Brötchen. And the lady had this blank look on her face, like, what do you want? And then
they're not even familiar with it?
I would say an Austrian would be. But like I said, I think this woman was probably from like an Eastern European country, moved to Austria,
so she was like an
German
immigrant, so just learned Austrian German.
Right. And
I gotcha.
Thankfully I was near him, so I said "Vier Semmel bitte," and then we got it all solved.
Yeah,
but I would say most Austrians understand standard German.
I mean, for if you're an immigrant into Austria, it would totally make sense that you had what is that? That would make sense. Kartoffel. Excuse me, Kartoffel. I was reading the Austrian version as I was saying the German. Kartoffel.
Erdäpfel?
Yeah. Whenever I hear Erdäpfel, I always just think of the song Earth Angel, and I'm like, Erdäpfel. Which is potato.
Right, but what's funny is, don't they use the same type of description in France? A potato is an earth apple, right? Exactly.
Yeah, which is apple of the earth. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm.
Which is an interesting concept. I mean, it's interesting that they've all kind of agreed that not they've all, but at least those two languages have agreed that. Excuse me, Dales. That potatoes are apples of the earth.
Right. Yeah, that is kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yes. Nicht wahr? They say nicht wahr. What I would say might be oder ?
Yeah, I would say oder.
They say nicht wahr, and I left it there because I felt like I wasn't good enough of a German speaker to override it. But I also want to ask you. I feel like oder is a better. It's like.
I think nicht wahr is more formal.
Yeah,
I would say they'd say oder, and Austrians would probably also say that, or maybe gell.
Yep. That's a specifically Austrian one. Is gell.
Right.
Ein bisschen, which is a little.
Oh, this is one of my favorite Austrian words. And I was actually in Prague a few weeks ago, and I met some Austrians, and I heard them say a bissel, and I knew immediately after I heard them say a bissel that they were Austrian. And it literally brought a smile to my face after I heard them say.
Is that really one of your favorites?
Oh, I love a lot of the Austrian German words that have the L on it, right? Bissel, Würstel, a little sausage is a good one.
Yeah.
What
So
else?
would they do the L? Would they do that instead of the Shen?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. So that's
Or like
another
a
reason why the
bar, I think
Brötchen
a
wouldn't
bar
work is because
is,
it would
right.
be like a Brötchen if they were
Yeah,
to
that wouldn't
actually
work.
do that.
Right. I think the word for pub in Austria, if I remember correctly, is Beisel. Which also Beisel, yeah. Sorry. So this word actually comes from Hebrew, Beisel, but it has that L ending again. But it's a word for like a more traditional German or Austrian restaurant. But I just love the way that sounds at the end of the words, right? Bissel,
Yeah. Yeah.
Würstel. It just has to me, it just sounds very Austrian when I hear that.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. I like it, and it's, and I think it kind of represents what you were kind of trying to explain earlier of why you prefer the Austrian German to the more Hochdeutsch German is because, or just a different dialect, is because even something like that I think represents how the Austrian dialect kind of smooths out the German a little bit. Shen is so much harsher than the Zell. And I think it's just a good representation of smoothing out the language a little bit.
Right. And I don't know if our listeners will believe this, especially our listeners in Germany, or maybe they will agree. I don't know. But I've heard a few of my German friends actually say that to them, Austrian German sounds a little bit softer, a little nicer, a little sweeter, or even a little bit cuter than standard German.
So now we're getting down to it. Now I see why you prefer to use that Austrian German.
you caught me. What can I say?
Grüß Gott. Oh, actually, that's something that Germans will make fun of you for if you say Grüß Gott, which is a Austrian greeting.
Right.
The Germans will say, "I'll let him know if I see him." They'll say that in German.
Right.
Which because Grüß Gott means greetings to God.
Right. Except for in Bavaria.
Right, because Bavarians are speaking Austrian German.
Right. I've also had some Germans snicker at me when I've said Servus, which is like informal hello.
Oh, yeah,
in Austrian German.
Yeah. Informal hello, I always kind of see it as, if this even makes any sense, it's more like an informal, like, greetings, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
For sure.
I don't know if there's even a difference there. Tomaten.
Paradiser. That's a good one.
Oh, is it it is Paradiser. I didn't even notice that. That's another one that I don't think I knew. For some reason, I was thinking Paradiesa, and then you said that, and I looked. I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't even realize that. I feel like I never really used Paradiesa like once while I was in Austria.
Well, that's important to know when you go out to a restaurant.
Okay.
In Austria, you
and
might
I think
see
also
Paradiesa
that's also a good
instead
representation
of
of kind of a nicer word than Oh, sorry, I talked over you because your Wi-Fi is terrible. And
oh, you're good. What were you saying?
I said I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Johannisbeeren.
One more time.
Johannisbeeren.
Heidelbeeren?
No, Johannisbeeren.
Johannisbeeren.
Which is apparently a current. That the only reason I left that one in there is because my middle name is Johann. It's in Austrian it's Ribizel, which is just a currant. Which is, you know what a currant is? Like one of those tiny red little circular berry looking things.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
I also have some false friends between German and Austrian.
Oh, let's do it.
Kasten.
Say it again. What is that?
Kasten.
Oh, Kasten.
Mm-hmm.
Like a box?
That's what it. Yes, that's what it is in German.
What is it in Austrian?
Austrian, I believe Kasten is a Schrank. I believe.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, and a Schrank is like a closet.
The funny thing is, even though it says it here, like I found this online, when you don't know, I'm like, God, I got this wrong.
No, that's right.
And I'm so like hesitant to be like, just say it. I guess it's so hard for me to tell you what a German sent. So like if you're not getting it, I'm like, oh god, I'm wrong.
I'm
so
not
this
perfect.
is actually a very difficult segment for me to do right now and confidently tell you these things because I'm like, Chad's a legitimate German teacher. Who am I to be teaching you things?
Hey, Google can be good sometimes. Give Google credit where it deserves.
Kasta is would be Kasten is box in Germany, but it's a wardrobe in Austrian. And Schrank is how you say wardrobe in
Kastel can also be a small Kasten can also be used when you're talking about your mailbox. Briefkastel.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. It's a small wardrobe for your mail.
That's right.
And so instead of Kastchen, it would be Kastel.
Mm-hmm.
Sessel.
Sessel in Germany is an armchair, and Sessel in Austria is just the generic term for chair, or Stuhl in proper German.
There you go, yeah. In German, I don't know why I have to add this here, but in German, do you know what Stuhl is? Stuhl?
Isn't that feces?
Yep, that's just poop.
Right.
I don't know. I had to add it. I don't know why I had to. I'm just a child. Vorzimmer.
Wohnzimmer or Vorzimmer?
Vorzimmer.
I don't even know. Oh, hallway. That's standard German, right?
No.
I've never heard that one before.
Apparently standard German is Diele. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard that word before?
I've heard Diele before, but never Vorzimmer. Interesting. Okay.
I like that I'm improving your Austrian German here.
You're getting me ready for my trip, buddy. I appreciate it.
With the ladies. Oh, yeah, you like this Vorzimmer? And then one more. Polster. This one I did not know.
Say it again?
Polster. Not Polestar like the performance line of Volvos, but Polster.
Right. Polestar.
With an E. Polster.
Oh, I've heard this one before, but tell me what it is.
Kissen.
Oh, it's a pillow.
Yep.
Oh,
your German is very good.
I try. I would hope so.
I mean, I wouldn't know pillow off the bat like that. It's just like there's always those kind of even like, and I think there's stuff like that I always keep me from being calling myself fluent. And obviously I've lost a lot of it over time. Like I still know stuff, but I've lost a lot. But I think there's a lot of those kind of words that you can get by without knowing and still be very effective in any language, just because it's like, how often do you really need to use some of these words that might be very useful, but it's just easy to get by without ever talking about pillows when you're at a bar with some friends.
Right.
Or it's easy to never, bring up wardrobes or whatever.
Well, let me give you a word or two words that will help you remember the word pillow forever, and our listeners out there who don't speak German. Kissenschlacht is pillow fight, and I just think that's a badass sounding word. Kissenschlacht.
See, now that's one kind of aggressive sounding word that I think is hilarious. That pillow fights would sound like aggressive.
Right.
Is Schlacht fight?
Kissenschlacht? Battle or slaughter.
Slaughter. I just imagine like one of those like sort of montages from a movie where they have the Kissenschlacht and it involves like the feathers flying all over the place.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
We lost some good pillows that day.
Exactly.
So, did you know this? Did you know? In Austrian German, you'll find that a few haben verbs take sein. And so I
did know this, but
if
continue.
You were to say, I'm explaining this for the people. If you were to say some certain phrases, like if you were to say certain past tenses of a phrase, you would say like, I have gone to. So, so how we say I have gone to, ich habe. They'd all sometimes, depending on the verb, and usually the standard rule that they give is that if it's something involving movement or going somewhere or active, then it's sein. So instead of saying I have gone, you would say I am gone. Is what I'm doing the English form of what the actual German what they'd be saying in German. And so some of them. So you actually do know this? I did not know this at all. How do you learn these things? And I'll go through what some of them are, but
some of it was just exposure and hearing Austrians say it. Right? Like ich bin gesessen, like I sat.
Yeah, that's one of the ones. Yeah.
And
or
some
liegen.
Some of it though was also when I was in graduate school. I kid you not, I did almost a 3-hour presentation on Austrian German. It was really funny. I took this German dialects class.
I don't know if that's more torture for you or whoever has to watch that.
Oh, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. But
3 hours?
3 hours. Yep, you betcha. You betcha.
You betcha. That
3
is
hours.
Insane.
And what was funny though is in my dialects class,
just a professor, or you're in front of an entire class?
Whole class.
So,
yep.
So did each student have to do this?
Yeah. Here's what was funny. So we each got, I think we got to choose a dialect, or I think we may have even been assigned a dialect. And my professor knew that, I loved Austria, and Austrian German is near and dear to my heart. But, he could have just given me Wienerisch, and he just goes, do a presentation on Austrian German. So the entire country of Austria. And there's a part of Austria that's by Switzerland that sounds nothing like all of the other dialects of Austrian German.
Yeah, the Swiss German is the weirdest.
I would agree.
No offense. I mean, it's hard for me to say that. It's me saying that I almost feel like when people on Fox News are commenting about the black community. That's how I just felt speaking about. It's like, all right, you barely know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'll go through actually. I think there are 7 recognized, or there are 7 recognized dialects of German.
Oh, let's do it. I want to hear these. I'm curious.
Swiss German, or as they would say it, Schweizerdeutsch.
You're right.
Schweizerdeutsch. And that's the one that is, and what they say on this website, which is Fluent U, which I often find myself on when doing research for this podcast. And what they say is that this is and it actually backs up what I was just saying. This is the one that you're least likely to understand as a non-German speaker or as a German speaker. And it's just a very interesting dialect. That's I think the most different from all the other types of German. Austrian German, which is what we're talking about right now,
right? Which
is Österreichisch Deutsch. Österreichisch Deutsch. Jesus Christ. Oh wait, they say the Bavarian dialect is different. Bayerisch, they say, is a different dialect.
It's slightly different.
And
it depends on how you define dialects.
Well, I'll say this: they define Bayerisch as southern, like Hochdeutsch, is like the southern dialect Hochdeutsch is how they explain. They say we'll continue our sweep of southern High German by looking at the Bavarian dialect. So they're saying Austrian is also sort of a southern High German. And then they say that Bayerisch as well. Would you agree with that? You're welcome to say no, bro. This is our own podcast.
Right.
You can say whatever you want. And as I censor myself.
I mean, I think there's a ton of similarities between Bavarian and Austrian German. So I would pool them in as maybe not 100% the same, but pretty similar.
Well, I mean, as I told you earlier, I'm not against that either because I read a couple other websites that would argue that that Bavarian German is as I said before, comes from Austrian German, which I hate. I'm so nervous to say because it almost seems like I feel like everyone and all of our Southern German. Shout out to our Southern German stronghold, as we call it. We're gonna be like, whoa, bro, how dare you? The Upper Saxon dialect. Which
is one of the funniest sounding dialects in my opinion.
Sächsisch.
Uh-huh.
Is that what they call it?
Sächsisch. Uh-huh.
Is that how you say it? Sächsisch?
Uh-huh.
Isn't Saxon just another word for German? Not quite. Saxony or Sächsen is is another one of the 16 Sachsen, excuse me, another one of the 16 Bundesländers, eastern half of the country, and part of the former German Democratic Republic. Jesus Christ. During the Cold War. And the Berlinisch, Berlin dialect.
Berlinerisch.
Plattdeutsch, which in English is apparently Low German. Pennsylvania Dutch, which I learned when we talked about that Amish play that I went to go see. And apparently Pennsylvania Dutch has nothing to do with Dutch. It's a dialect of German.
Well, who knew you would learn so much just from watching some Amish plays,
I've learned that the big city will corrupt you, and that Pennsylvania Dutch is actually a dialect of German.
Right.
The big city and the fast talking, fast-paced lifestyles are dangerous.
That's right. It makes sense, though. I mean, a lot of people don't get that Dutch actually comes from the word Deutsch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would I? Why would I not think that? If I didn't know that, why would I not just assume that it's based off of Dutch? It's like,
right.
There's
That's
Dutch
fair.
in the title.
Right.
Am I an idiot for
exactly.
thinking this?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Let's see. I remember moving to when we studied abroad. And we've talked about how we didn't really understand much for the first, I'd say, 2 weeks or so. Maybe for me, 2 or 3 weeks.
I'd even go out on a limb and say maybe even a month.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Maybe.
You're probably right. I though enjoyed that process because I'd say I was only fully lost for like a week or two of it. And then,
That's fair.
and then, you're slowly, and then I slowly pick up on it. Where it's like I don't really know what that means, but I get what you're saying. I enjoy that. It's almost like a whole new world. It's like you're kind of discovering like a
right.
It's like ooh, that's how you do that. Ooh, that's a little interesting gem. I'm picking up on, and
Right. It's exciting. I feel you. It's definitely really exciting.
Can I ask you a very important question?
Absolutely.
Are you team Amdudla or team Apfelschorle?
Oh, Almdudler. Jeden Tag. Every day.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. It's got more flavor to it, complexity to it. The Apfelschorle literally just tastes like sparkling apple juice. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Apfelschorle. I'm never going to get Apfelschorle and be like, "Oh, this is garbage." I enjoy it. But I do enjoy that the Almdudler just has more, it has more flavor to it, more complexity.
Right. And I'll be honest. Obviously, Almdudler is my number one, but I used to always buy the knockoff brand because it's called, for any of our listeners curious, if they're traveling in Austria, it's called Kräuterlimo, which is literally like what, herb lemonade?
I guess so. I barely remember that.
That's basically what Almdudler is.
I remember that you got the knockoff, but I don't remember what it... Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, yeah, Apfelschorle is... I mean, Almdudler is actually a brand name. Sorry, I'm opening a can. Almdudler is actually a brand name, but Apfelschorle is a generic term for the drink. So it's a little different. In the way it's named, but those are both like... Apfelschorle is kind of the staple apple drink of Germany.
Right.
Of most of Germany, and Almdudler is the Austria. Maybe Bavaria. Do they drink Almdudlers in Bavaria? I've never been.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Okay. Well,
Most definitely.
Yeah, so those are the dialects of German. And those are Chad's and Jared's decision on Almdudler versus Apfelschorle. And also, Austrian German is still spoken in northern Italy as well, just another one in Südtirol. Südtirol is actually North Italy, even though it's called South Tyrol.
Right. Well, that's because it used to be, I think it was a part of Austria, wasn't it?
Probably. I don't know for sure, but
I could be wrong. Yeah.
I mean, Austria used to be a much bigger empire back in the day.
Right, for sure. There are a couple other kind of cool things about Austrian German I like. Like, for example, the word for ambulance, What's the word for ambulance in
Amberlance?
standard German, Jared? Jared.
Amberlance.
Ambulance.
Krankenwagen, which just means sick wagon or sick car.
Right. And what's the word for what's the word for it in Austria? Do you remember?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Rettungswagen.
What does
Literally
that mean?
like retten or Rettung would be like saving someone.
Oh, it's like this is the savior car.
Right, exactly.
Which I think is more appropriate. I mean, obviously people are, but I think you're more likely to be in an ambulance if you're being saved rather than if you're sick. Because like even if you have some sort of serious illness, that doesn't mean you can't be driven to a hospital.
Right.
But if you like say break a bone or have a heart attack or something, you're being saved from something. You're not just sick. This is an act of saving happening.
Right.
We're actively in the process of we need this to happen now.
Well, it's also interesting that in Germany, Krankenhaus is the word for hospital, and in Austria they say Spital.
Yes, that's true. That is true. That is actually another one I skipped before. Yeah, Spital, which is fun to say. I did not know that either.
Spital.
These are all things I did not know. I feel
Well,
like
now you got to come back to Vienna so you can flex on all these Austrians.
I'm planning on it. You know what? I was actually once again I don't know why but I was thinking to myself, laughing to myself earlier today that what if like on Christmas, because I'm not going home and I'm gonna be like here by myself, I just put up like a 3-hour podcast of me just like talking to a microphone by myself. And I was like, Chad, probably we need
People
to
have definitely done weirder things, that's for sure. That is for sure.
So yeah, do you have any more commentary on Austrian German?
Oh, you know I do. The one thing I want to mention that I really like is also the word for bag. If you're in Germany, they'll say Tüte, and in Austria they say Sackerl.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Which is a good one.
Sackerl is so much better.
Oh, for sure. A little sack.
And once again, I'm now noticing. Because I was just about to say the little thing as well. I'm now just noticing all these uses of the L. I never really noticed that, because even though I think more Austrian German was taught in our German classes when we studied abroad, not everything can be focused on. I don't think. Maybe that never came up. The fact that that's how you that's the same as saying shen. So I never really noticed that until now, and I like it. It's so much better.
Oh,
Softer,
for sure. It's great. It's great.
Subtler.
All right, Jared. So now I got a couple other Austrian words I want to share with you, and then we'll move on to the song of the pod. But the first one I want to give you is the Austrian word Jause. Do you remember what Jause means?
That sounds like a word from a 1960s cartoon.
Jause.
What is that, Scooby-Doo?
Might
Zoinks! I don't know what Yowza is.
It's
is that a kind of dog?
It's a snack.
Yowza. Mm-hmm. Is it a sweet snack?
No, it's just kind of a generic word to have a snack.
How would you say snack in German? Schnackchen.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Would you actually say that? I just made that.
I don't know. See, I don't have snacks in Germany. I just eat full meals.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, a snack. A snack. For, Jesus Christ. A snack for us would be
I think Germans might call it Brotzeit.
Brotzeit?
Maybe.
I actually have Dick CC in front of me. Oh, although my wife. I think
Germans might even say snack though. Ein kleines Snack. I think Germans might say that nowadays. Another one of my favorite Austrian words, and there's no German word for this.
It is snack.
Okay, nice. So another one of my favorite ones is Reparaturseidel. Do you know what that means? Reparaturseidel? So I'll tell you a Seidel. Seidel is a small beer, kleines Bier. Seidel. Reparaturseidel.
Is that like a it almost feels like the first beer after work is what I would call that.
Oh,
Where
that's
it's like,
that's a
I
good
just
one.
need to I just need my this is my reparations beer almost.
You're
I've earned this
I mean,
because
that's not what it means.
I hate my job. Theoretically, I don't hate my job, but most people
Right.
tend to hate their job.
Right. No, a Reparaturseidel is a small beer that should cure your hangover.
Oh,
Yeah, a
I like that.
Reparaturseidel.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of like do we have a word for this in English? But I cannot think of it.
We do?
I mean, our untranslatable would be like bite the tail of the dog that bit you or something like that. Or
Okay.
hair of the tail of that dog that bit you, hair of the...
Yeah, I have no idea.
But something along those lines. Oh, my God. How do you not know?
I have no idea what phrase that is.
For someone that knows so much German, your knowledge of English untranslatables is abysmal.
Needs to improve, that's for sure.
I said it.
We could spend hours on Austrian German, but I think now we need to give our listeners some practical knowledge, or at least give them something to listen to hear the sound of Austrian German. So I picked out a special song this week from a rap group called Hinterland, which, Jared, do you know what Hinterland means?
I mean, directly translated, it's like the backlands, the woods or something. I don't know, but the woods is
It's like
really
the
be
woods,
hinterland,
the country, the boonies.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the woods or the countries or the boonies. And the song is called Volksmusik, which should be Volksmusik.
I like it a lot.
But it's
Yes,
Austrian German, so
that's
it's
what I was going to ask you about
Volksmusik.
that.
Yeah, so that's just a common
like
thing
La Croix.
about Austrian German. So what are your thoughts on the song, Jared?
Oh, I love it. It's great. I mean, it's hip hop, essentially. Is that what you would call it? I would say.
Oh, for sure. I would say so.
I love hip hop. I'd say it's probably my favorite genre, and I like it. I don't have much to say. I mean, I feel like I need more to say than this, but I just enjoyed it. It was just it's good. What do you?
I mean,
how do you know about
the
them?
beat's fantastic. I think one day I was just Googling Austrian rap music or something, and this group somehow came up.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fantastic. And I've been a fan of them for like 3 years.
Could you like, now obviously you found them purposely looking for Austrian music, but is it easy for you to listen to it? And I know this is hard because it's tainted, but can you listen to it and be like, and say listen to them versus listening to a Seed song, for example, just for a comparison? Could you listen to like almost Pepsi challenge style, put them side by side and be able to be like, oh yeah, they're from Austria?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt. I think they're both actually, I believe they're from St. Pölten in Austria, so it's not Wienerisch, but just the way the rhythm of their speech is,
still there.
it just, to me, it sounds very Austrian. Like, they don't say, I'm trying to think of some examples right now. It just, the sound of it, the inflection, to me, it just sounds very Austrian, especially the hook. I mean, they say Volksmusik, right? A German would say Volksmusik. So it just, to me, it has a whole different sound. Also, the music video, I think, is awesome, right? It starts off with like this old, like, Oma, like, I think she's like cleaning off the picture of them. It looks like this funny stereotypical picture of like a Bavarian or Austrian. It's a great watch. And they're putting on their lederhosen, which I think is also pretty cool because
now it's coming back to me. Now it's coming back to me.
They're
I
putting on
remember
the lederhosen because, that's a really like traditional Austrian outfit, right? Is the lederhosen. And the whole song,
more
I think,
Austrian than it is German? We've had this conversation
I would say,
before.
Once again, I'd say it's Austrian and Bavarian. So, yeah.
Right. So the answer to that question is yes.
Yes. Right.
Oh, man, we're going to hear some heat from the southern Germans.
well, no, the Bavarians will be happy with that answer. We're giving them props. They'll be happy with it.
You think they'd be happy to hear that their German is Austrian German?
Well, 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 I wouldn't say. I would say it's similar to Austrian German. Let me put. It's not 100% the same. Especially in Vienna, there are different aspects.
They wouldn't.
To it.
Well, let me put it this way. They wouldn't. Someone from somewhere in Bayern would not be calling their German Austrian German.
No, they'd be calling it Bavarian German.
Right, they would not be saying they're speaking Austrian German.
Correct.
And if I were to go there and say, "Oh, your Austrian German is so nice," I think they'd be like, "What does that mean?"
They'd be a little offended, probably. Probably.
Like, well, where it's like, no, I mean, you're speaking Austrian German. It's like, yeah, you might say this one word differently, but you're not fooling anyone, baby. I'm straight from Austria.
You're losing fans in Bavaria, Jared. That's for sure. But this music video is just great. It starts out with like some horns, like very
We're gonna become
typical
the Fox
old school.
News of language talk.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no, I hope not. But yeah, and I think the cool thing about this song, though, right. I think the cool thing about this song, though, is they talk about how like rap music will eventually become, I think, like Volksmusik or Volksmusik, as they say, which I think is kind of a cool idea. Maybe some older Austrians and Germans might be really upset about this idea of hip hop becoming a type of folks music, but I think it could happen.
What I was going to say initially was, well, it already kind of has, but it has in America. It probably hasn't in Austria yet. So he's saying that eventually hip hop will become the music of the people in Austria.
Right. Which could happen.
I did not catch that. I knew that he was saying folks music, but I guess I didn't sort of put those together. That's an interesting concept.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
I would believe it. But I can imagine how a lot of older Austrians or just any other, and this is not just an Austrian thing. This is really any sort of country, even America that a big part of our culture has fully embraced hip hop. There's still a huge part that thinks is ruining our culture, you know?
Right. Oh, for sure. Most definitely. So check out our song of the pod, Volksmusik.
Yeah, I'm listening to more of this stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would suggest Bauernliegennet.
Yeah, you sent me that song as well, didn't you?
But that one doesn't bump quite as hard as Volksmusik.
I like this one. I like this one more, especially for this purpose.
And that whole album by them, where Volksmusik is on there, that whole album is solid. Give it a listen.
Okay, all right.
You and our listeners out there, give it a listen if you're curious about Austrian German. We'll have that out on Twitter for you. Volksmusik by Hinterland. So now, Jared, usually I have a check word of the pod.
One.
Thank you. On Twitter. Thank you. Usually I have a check word of the pod, but this week it just didn't feel quite right. So it's time for an important Austrian word. So this word, I mean, I can give you a check word if you want, Jared. But my Austrian word.
I always get nervous when you start slacking, I don't want you to lose track of what's happening here.
Well, I've been flexing. That's true. Hey,
sorry,
I feel like
please give us
learning a dialect of German. I feel like is also a small baby step towards polyglottism as well.
No, that's true, and I don't want to take you. I still obviously now I want to hear this German word, regardless of whether you give me a Czech word or not. So, please.
You mean Austrian German word, but yes. Gotta differentiate.
Do I have to
so
say
we don't
Austrian German?
Yep.
Okay.
Because they don't say
every
this in
time?
Germany. I don't think every time, always.
Okay.
Thankfully, we're almost done with this episode, so you'll be good. But yeah,
I haven't seen German.
Right. The word is Leihwand or Urleihwand.
So
you know what this means?
Wait, Urleih?
I wouldn't even try to. Let me just give it. Yeah, let me just give it to you
while I'm ahead.
If something's Leihwand, it means it's like awesome or really cool.
Oh, okay.
Urleihwand would be like even more cool,
amazing,
even more awesome.
Right.
Yeah,
Wand is
exactly.
wall, right? In German?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's why you're stopping me while I was ahead.
Right.
You're like, you know where you're going, don't even bother.
I'm trying to see. I think it also, though...
Urleihwand.
Oh, this is awesome. So I went on Urban Dictionary. Dude, Urban Dictionary is pretty solid for having like a lot of phrases in other languages. Because look at this. They have Leihwand on Urban Dictionary. Leihwand is the Austrian slang word for cool. Nimmst mal noch ein Bier mit? Das wär Leihwand. Will you like get another beer or bring another beer with me? That would be awesome, or that would be cool.
I said right. I was like, oh, I don't think he's explained this for me. I've never heard that one before. I like it though. I don't know how I have not heard that. This is just another example. I need to get a different goddamn chair. This chair is so creaky. When I edit the podcast, this is all I hear when I edit the podcast. I've never. That's just another example of an Austrian German word that I missed during my time. And maybe if I would have stayed for the full year, which I should have.
Yep.
I would have picked up on that.
I agree. But you know, it is what it is. Can't cry over spilled milk, or if you're in Austria.
Oh,
right.
Sorry.
You're good.
What's the Austrian
All right, Jared,
one?
So I only have one joke for you. Well, I was gonna say the Austrian one. You can't cry over spilled beer. Or maybe drop schnitzel. One or the other. One or the other. Well, Jared, I got one joke for you. How do you know that Austrians are clever?
How do you know? I don't know.
By convincing the world that Hitler is German and Beethoven is Austrian.
Oh my gosh. That's a kind of a dark joke. Like
it is, but it's true.
I mean, I guess so, but that's real. I mean, that's actually real.
I mean, I was trying to think of a character other
Did
than
you make
Hitler,
that up?
obviously. Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. I turned it into a question joke.
I feel like now you're okay. I was going to say no. I feel like now you're only taking partial credit because I'm like because of my response. Like whoa.
right.
Like no. But it is a good joke. But I was like, that's true. I guess
it's kind of true though. Yeah. Like a lot of people.
Did Austrians do that? I mean, I guess the Germans wouldn't want to do that. There's no benefit for them to do that.
Right. I mean, I don't really know who did it. I think it's people who don't know their history or didn't pay attention in their history classes enough. But either way, I thought it was a funny joke.
Mistake to make, though. To be fair.
Yeah, that's true. And they are neighboring countries. I mean, yeah.
And all of his damage was done under the German regime.
Right. Exactly. But that's a conversation for another episode.
Look forward to that episode, everyone. Hitler.
Right. Oh God. Oh jeez. All right, Jared. Well, I have a good quote that
Should I add that to the soundboard, by the way? Just that clip of me just saying Hitler right there.
Oh God. Oh jeez. So I have a good quote that I think really brings back what we talked about today on this episode. Which is written by Karl Kraus, who I believe was Austrian. I'm pretty sure he was Austrian. And he noticed that, although Austrian and German... Yeah, he was an Austrian writer and journalist. That's what I thought.
Journalist. Sorry. I was... when first I heard journalist, I was thinking like he wrote like Dear Diary kind of journal. I'm such an idiot.
Who knows? Maybe. But what Karl Kraus once wrote, he said, what differentiates Germans and Austrians is their common language.
Can you? I think I get that, but could you explain that to me?
So yeah, what makes Germans and Austrians different is the fact that they have a common language, but it's a different common language, right? It's technically still German, but Austrians, as we've discussed this episode, Austrians have different words for different foods, for different things. Right, and I think the language, instead of bringing Germans and Austrians together, I think in a way, just like Americans and British English speakers, our languages are a part of our identity and differentiate us from our different countries, right? Like,
after doing this episode, it does seem like there is a little bit of a superiority complex from the Austrians. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I would say that's probably not 100% untrue. But I think like most...
You say that like a politician on trial.
Right. Well, hey, I gotta stick up for my Austrian German, Jared. What can I say? I feel like the thing is that a lot of times it's I would say you're 100% right. It's not only a superiority complex.
Well,
it's just
there we go. I got it out of them.
Austrians, I think, want to be recognized for being their own people, not just being lumped in with the Germans.
See, there you go. There you go. That's a great way to explain it. Is that it doesn't have to like there might it might be looked at as a superiority complex thing, but I can also see how it could be annoying. Oh, for example, you live in the Czech Republic right now, and it always gets confused. Like from the outsider, it always gets confused with Slovakia or called Czechoslovakia, and it's like we're like an actual country here. Like we have like it's like.
Right.
So I can also understand part of the annoyance in wanting to have your own identity, which obviously you and I fully believe and like enjoy, and the Austrian and Viennese culture. So I understand that. I definitely understand that.
Absolutely. So we hope this episode has been insightful for all of our listeners out there, especially people traveling to Austria or just curious about Austrian German and some of the differences. If you have any other questions about it, I would love to answer your questions. Shoot us an email at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can slide into our DMs at Twitter, and I'm sure Jared will have some type of witty or sassy remark for you. Or you can also check out our Instagram page, Untranslatable Podcast. We will be posting different clips and some cool pictures of our travels. I got to give a big kudos to you, Jared, because you have some awesome pictures of Philly. Makes me really want to come visit you in Philly once I get back stateside.
Thanks, buddy. There's a lot of cool stuff around if you just, like I walk around a lot, and there's a lot of cool stuff. It's fun to actually pay a little bit more closer attention now.
Exactly. I think that's a good thing for all of our listeners to keep in mind as well. So we thank you very much. As they say in Austria, Fiatti, which is also a way to say goodbye. Or in Vienna, they say Papa. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. Vielen Dank. Und wir sehen uns zum nächsten Mal. Auf Wiedersehen oder Wiederschauen.